Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all today? I hope you're well. It's Groundhog Day. So as you will have seen in the previous video, this is a continuation of the same day, but this is my afternoon session that's about to start with some more water. You have to excuse me doing all this drinking, but it is really warm and sticky, muggy day today. So as I mentioned in that previous video, the focus for this afternoon in terms of the gardening or the garden space is to sort out some things in the herb bed, the cold frame and the deck. It's going to be a proper little juggling session. Oh, just trying to find room for stuff. And once I've done that, I need to leave myself some time to sort out the shed, because it really is, it's getting on my nerves. It's an absolute pigsty. There's rubbish in here which can be recycled. There's lots of cardboard. There's a couple of, I can see there's a tin of Coca-Cola from the weekend. Yes, naughty, I know. But on the work parties, I quite like a fizzy drink. There we go. Yeah, so I need to leave some time to sort the shed out. And I also need to leave time to do all the watering. But I think it's mostly going to be doable. I'm just stretching to have a look at my list. Oh, I've got something to plant as well. Oh, and I've got some harvesting to do. I mustn't forget to do my harvesting. I think that'll do. I think that'll do me for the afternoon. So, just before I kind of get stuck into the work, I'm just going to show you a couple of things around the cold frame, because last night, was it last night? Yeah, I think last night, yesterday afternoon, evening, I came down to water and I brought with me another 2 bags of trays of pots of seedlings from indoors to go into the cold frame for hardening off. And, well, I couldn't fit them in. So, come on, I'll give you a little show and tell you what I mean. So, as you can see, I've put my debris netting on the top of the cold frame to give a bit of shade, because we really have been very bright and sunny and hot the last few days, and I don't want to fry my goodies. I just want to give them a bit of protection in the evening. So, let me get down here and try to explain. In this back end, you can see this is all tomatoes now. And of course, that was full of my little cell trays of all the brassicas, so they had to come out. And I really didn't have much time last night, so when they came out, they got dumped there in what is supposed to be the fennel bed, which, I'm just desperately waiting and hoping for some rain before I try and dig it over, because it's just, well, you might have seen the other day when I dug up the potato from the path. In fact, that was here. I mean, you can see how baked and concrete like this ground is. Yes, so I'm waiting for rain in order to dig this bed. So in the meantime, I've literally just dumped the brassica seedlings there, but I think I'm going to try and find somewhere else to put them. I just feel they're a bit exposed there if the foxes or cats want to start jumping on them and playing. So anyway, that's where we're at. The shading, the shading is now on the cold frame, but all these pots here, these are going to have to come out to make room for more squash, etc. from home. So, there's no time like the present. Might as well get on and start getting sorted in this area. Now that's another of my jobs to do this afternoon. That's the feverfew. It's become a total thug. It's completely swamping out the fennel and the tansy, so it's going to get a big prune today. And where it has self-seeded, just down here, I'm going to have that out, but I'm going to put it into a pot in case someone else would like it. There's another little one there, so I'll have those out. Oh, and another little one right down there. So yeah, I'll have them out, but I'll put them in pots, and then that means that if someone else would like a feverfew in their garden, I can give it to them. Oh, the wind's picking up as well as the clouds coming in. I'm glad of the clouds because it was hot earlier, but I don't want it to be too windy. Right, let's get stuck in. Oh dear. Days like today feel like a jigsaw puzzle, don't they? It's one of those like, oh, where to start, where to start. You just have to start. So, I basically want to clear the deck as much as possible. So I've got space for pots and what have you. So anything that is not in immediate use is going to be moved. Anything that's rubbish is going to be sorted and either chucked or shared. Yeah, let's just pop these around here for a minute. Whoopla. Oh. That'll do. Right, let's start clearing. These, I had these lumps of, I don't even know what they are, you know, for holding cardboard down. But they're so light, they're weird. They're like loofah. They're not really much good for anything, but I shan't get rid of them just yet, just in case. Now under here, oops, sorry little plants. I've got this load of wood. This is, whoopla. This is slats from one half of a double bed. You know, the slats that go underneath? Out of a skip, they may be useful for something. I was thinking I need to get an axe, I think, or borrow one, of splitting them down the middle so they're half as wide. And then I can drive them into the ground as markers, as sort of propping posts for nets and what have you. Yeah, I'm sure they'll come in useful for something. Oopla, I'm going to go flying. Let's park the barrow there for a sec. So I'm just trying to sort out everything that's going to go up near the shed out of the way for now. So things like this, all my planters that aren't planted up yet. They'll be for all the geraniums, the pelargoniums that are still on the deck. If I get time today, I think I would like to bring them down here. This old bucket, I do love it. It's got a hole in the bottom though. So last year I used it as a planter, and I'm pretty sure I will again this year, but at the moment it's just got random rubbish in. You know what it's like though when you're walking around the garden and you just find lumps of rubbish? It's that thing of, I just need a handy receptacle to chuck it into until I decide what I'm actually going to do with it. So, oh, shooey fooey. Right, I think the terracotta trough that had the mint in, I don't want that mint, so I need to get this emptied, and then that can also, will it sit on there? That can also be planted up with the geraniums. So that's a little bit of space to skip the herbs down. Good. It's herbs. What's in here? Gigantes. Whoopla. And I've decided I'm going to dismantle my shelf. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Maybe it was a good idea, I don't know. But I think if I'd managed to get the shelves much further apart, so light could get in, but with the overhang of where these trays are overhanging, it's just so much shadow there. I just don't think it's been worth it. Well, it's always worth it to have a go at something, isn't it? It's always worth trying something. Because if you don't try, you don't know, do you? But if after having tried it, you think, nah, no good, then don't be, space, I need space. Yeah, don't sort of stubbornly hang on to an idea and stick with it just because, oh, you know, you want to make it work. Oh, I'm determined to make it work. You know, try things out. But if it doesn't work, just say, you know what, it didn't work. That's fine. There's, you know, no one's going to judge you. And you know, it's silly to stick with something that clearly isn't working. So yeah, don't ever be afraid to say, oh dear, never mind. Try something else. But what I am going to do for now, rather than keep moving bricks and, oh, I'm always moving these blimmin' bricks, is I'm just going to set them all on the back of the deck here until autumn. Oh, I just thought, no, I will need to move them for my deck chair, won't I? Well, they can sit here for now because there's other stuff to get on with today that's more important than moving bricks around. Yeah. Oh, huffy puffy, huffy puffy. Okay. Right then. Trays can all go back. This is what I mean about, there are some days which are just move one thing, move another, move one thing, move another. But it's all part of the rich tapestry of life, isn't it? That's not going to fit. Oh, fiddle diddle. Let's move you along a bit. Where there's a will, there's a way. Right, oh, and that one too. So now I've got about 20 something pots of backup beans that I sowed this morning. They're still sitting by the shed. So what I'll do is I'll take this barrow up to the shed, empty it, and then come back with those beans so I can set them on the deck. But also, just get in here a second. Yeah. Oh, I can't reach from there. There's 1, 2, 3 trays of beans to take out the cold frame, and there's one lot, these, which aren't in a tray. And that's what I was saying the other day about, it's really frustrating when we run out of trays, isn't it? Because you have to pick up pots 2, 3 at a time instead of being able to pick them up 12 at a time. Oh well, it keeps us fit, doesn't it? It keeps us fit and happy. Okay, you lot on there. The other thing I've been meaning to do, coming round, is gather up all my pebble labels. I keep tripping on them as I'm trying to access the cold frame, but also I need to go and start labelling all those different beans I've put in. Oh, a few more there. Oh, they're heavy. Oh, this will be, gosh, they are heavy, but this will be a really lovely job. Let me show you in half an hour or so to just sit down and quietly get all these labels sorted. Right, let's do some dumping up at the shed. Oy vey. I did find one tray. You would think a sky like that would bring with it some thundery showers, wouldn't you? But no, no moisture. It's just acting like a great big duvet, trapping the warmth in. Well, I'm thoroughly bored with humping and lumping for a while, so what's great is everything I've brought from home is now in the cold frame, and I've got space for, I think, 1, 2, 3, maybe another 4 trays in there, and I've got 9 trays at home. So I think what I'll do is when the stuff from, when I run out of space, I've got the wee flint corns over in the corner, they can probably come out. I've got no on the deck for them. I know, when I've done this job, it will create the tiniest little footprint that's big enough for another tray, so the flint corn can come out as well. I've now got all the bean pots on the deck, I'll show you that in a sec. But, like I say, there comes a point when humping and lumping and moving and it just gets boring. So I'm going to now plant my 2 beautiful little blueberry bushes. Oh look, it's sprouting there already. So as I mentioned in, I think, yesterday's video, or the day, you know what I mean, these came from the lovely Richard and Paul. So Paul dropped me a line a couple of weeks ago and said, would you like a couple of blueberry bushes, Vivi? And I said, oh yes please, yes, brilliant, yes, thank you. A couple of days later I suddenly thought, Vivi, where are you going to put them? So the main thing with them is they need an ericaceous compost. What we mean when we talk about an ericaceous compost is it's one that's a much higher acidity than your regular multi-purpose compost. If we think of pH of 7 as being around neutral, most of our gardens will be somewhere between 6.5 and 7. Using our gardens, this intensive growing of veg does start to acidify soil, which is one of the reasons people lime their soil. That just helps to bring it back to neutral and actually into slight alkaline. Anyway, so if you're planting something like a blueberry or rhododendrons, camellias, azaleas, heathers, they all want a slightly acidic soil. And if you think about where they would grow naturally, that starts to give you the clues about their soil requirement. So I've got myself some ericaceous compost, and now at the moment I don't have anything huge to put them in, but I've got these 2 pots. That one I realised I'd had sitting behind the shed for ages. I saw it in a kind of a rubbish pile and I thought, that'll be useful for something, it's a good size. But that was the only one I had. So I went and looked again and I found this one. So I'll just show you with the bush as contrast. So you can see that's going to be plenty big enough for it for the time being. And what I will do over the coming months, how am I going to get this in? I need a scoop. Simply over the coming months, I'll just keep a lookout. I'll keep a lookout in skips, in rubbish heaps. You know, the number of times I see, you know, fairly biggish pots or containers being thrown away. I could even, actually within my local area free cycle, I could probably just put a request on saying, does anyone have any large garden pots they're looking to get rid of? Anyway, put it this way, I'm sure I'll come up with something. And the other thing I was mentioning the other day, one of my plot neighbours down here has a pine tree in her garden, and she's got a massive bag full of needles she's swept up, and she was thinking, oh, I don't know what to do with them. And I was mentioning the blueberries to her the other day and how I needed to get an ericaceous compost. So she said, oh, would you like the pine needles? I certainly will have them. Oh, it's got a name. It's called Duke. I wonder if they're both called Duke. Yes, so this is Blueberry Duke. Where's Blueberry Duchess? Yeah, so with the pine needles, I can then just use them as a top dressing. Lots of folk use them with their raspberries. Now, I don't grow raspberries, so I'm guessing that that means that raspberries also like an acidic soil. So there we go, the first of my blueberries. I'm not sure how much compost I've got. I might actually top that up a bit. We'll see. Let's see how this goes. Can I do it without causing a disaster? Actually, I have got enough. What I'm going to do... Oh, I'm being a bit cack-handed today. I didn't firm that one in massively. I'm gonna have it back out of that pot and into this one, because I've got enough compost actually to give them a slightly better, deeper amount. There we go. Sorry about that, Duke. Is there a Duchess blueberry? I don't know. Beautiful colour. I love this kind of really bright acidy green at this time of year. I mean, obviously the feverfew is putting on quite a show of it too. I think in the autumn the foliage turns red, brown. I'm not sure. Like I said, I've never grown one before. Never mind two. So I hope this amount of pot will be sufficient for them this summer at least, or at least until I can find an alternative. Oh, I should just say as well, because they came in the post, they were from, I think they're from Thompson and Morgan. Because they came in the post, they've obviously been dry for a few days in the post. So all I did was I've had them sitting in this tray, gave them a good watering, and I've just let them sit and soak in that water for half an hour or so that they're good and wet. And now that they're in, I'll give them another bit of a watering, just to make them feel really, really at home. Good. Now, back up at the other end of the deck, I want to plant something else. I'll show you in a second. If you remember, a few days ago, I've lost track of time, I sowed some loofah direct in here. I do have 4 little plants in the cold frame that I raised. I started them way back in the middle of February. So hopefully I'm going to have loofah this year. But I just thought these poor little sweet peas, got 3 little pots of them, they've been desperate to go out for ages, absolutely gagging to get out. All the others that I planted, they're all romping away. Some of them just coming into flower. Actually, I'll try and remember to show you one of the flowers. It's a beautiful deep purple. Anyway, digressing. So I was originally going to put these right at the top of the garden, but I just have not been getting the time to do the things I wanted. And this is bone dry. I'll have to give this a good soak too. That top bed, it's not prepared. The one final mini bed within it, that's the one that's still got all the brassicas all over it. Oh my goodness, look how much they want to get going. Yeah, where it's got all the brassicas, the sort of the semi-chopped up brassicas. I'm still waiting for rain before I tackle that bed. It's going to get to the stage though where if we don't get any rain in the next week or so, I'm just going to have to get on and try and do the best I can without it being wet. So yeah, I'd kind of planned for these to go up there, but you know what? It's been way too long waiting, and because I want the loofah to go up the obelisk and onto the fence, I just thought, well, this would be nice, pretty climbing up the front. I'm going to put them all in this one though, because the front of this one I am saving for my Dulong de Londe French peppers. I'll give them a little bit of string, a little bit of tying in, just to set them on their way. Goodness, look at the state of them. Poor things. Do you know what? I watered them last night and they've been in a tray, so the water doesn't just all run off, but they're bone dry. So yeah, I'll give them a little bit of string to introduce them to the obelisk. And hopefully they'll get going and just add a little pretty corner, so anyone who's walking past will think, oh, that's nice, that's welcoming. Good stuff. Watering can. Well, that's a good job to get done today, and it's been on my mind for the last couple of weeks. But now the deck is once again absolutely chock full of pots and seeds, and these were all my little herb prickings out the other day. They're all looking absolutely fine. Yeah, none of them have keeled over yet. That was a few days ago. So yeah, brilliant. The sweet peas have now had a jolly good soaking, but I still need to get some string to them. So yes, brilliant. Lovely to see those two big pots on the end with the blueberries. But it's a relief to make space for all of this lot, because now it means that let's just go and check out things in the cold frame. All these beautiful things that I've had indoors for, in some cases, months on end. There's plenty of room for everything now. So you see, I've got a couple of trays can go in there, another one in here. But yeah, so this is pretty much all at the moment. Tomatoes and various types of squash right at the back. You can't see them in the achocha and loofah. The last things to be coming down will be the peppers and the celery, which are still teeny tiny, but I'm holding out hope for. And I've just noticed my backup cucumbers. Yay, there's a couple emerging. Brilliant. Nothing yet from the squash, but at least it looks like I'll have cucumbers this year. Hurrah! Oh, and I did mention earlier, didn't I, about the sweet peas. Look at this beauty. Isn't that a gorgeous colour? I love that deep purple. And look in the background there, sort of the pale lilac of the chives. Aren't they gorgeous together? Loads of buds coming. So yeah, I'm delighted with my first year of sweet peas. Woohoo! And the ones next to the shed are romping away too. I've just remembered. I was supposed to be finding somewhere for... There's always something else, isn't there? I wonder if I can slot them in between a row of spuds somewhere. I might be able to slot them in there. We'll see. Anyway, as you can see, the garden is bone dry. So I think my next pressing job is to get on with the watering, because it is taking ages at the moment, because I'm doing a couple of other plots as well. Get this thoroughly soaked and get the covers back on. But otherwise, look, there's a few things on the list that I haven't managed. I haven't chopped any of that cabbage up that's in that top bed. I haven't dug out the fennel bed, which is the one under the rose bush. Oh, I've forgotten as well, I'm supposed to be hacking back the feverfew a bit, aren't I? Running out of time, running out of energy, and I must water. Just look at the English lavender, by the way. Look how much it's grown in just the last month. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm trying to get down low so you can get an idea of how much it's put on. Loads. And of course the scabious. Oh, they're so lovely, aren't they? Beloved by both the bees and the butterflies. There aren't any around at the moment. I think it's because the weather's a bit funny. But yeah, that has been absolutely covered in bees, and I've seen just a couple of butterflies so far. But I'm sure they will find it and enjoy it. Right, I think before I start watering, I'm going to have a little sit down. I won't be sitting at the deck though, will I? Oh, anyone for a deck chair? No room at the inn. Right, I think, yeah, I think it's time to go and have a little sit down outside the shed before I try and keep this garden alive with cans and cans and cans of watering. Yes, all the watering is done by hand. Oh, joy. I'm very nearly done for today. I need to do all the watering, and then this is going to be my last job, and I can't wait. I need to get you in there so you can see properly somewhere. Yes, I'm going to be harvesting. Oh, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Myriad pods. Tons and tons of them. Oh, I just can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm sure I'll be having a few raw as I pick them. I've no doubt I'll be popping and scoffing some of the more young tender ones. Do you remember my February sowings? Look at the gorgeous flowers on them. This is the crimson broad bean. So pretty. Now the thing is, if this could be autumn sown, I would more than happily switch to this because the flower's beautiful. Actually, I need to see what it tastes like, of course, don't I? But I'd love to switch to it because of the colour of the flowers. However, my little bit of research tells me it's only for spring sowing. But wow, worth popping a few in each year, just for the colour. Anyway, never mind that. Whoa. Oh, yes. I've got some picking and some noshing to do. Yay! That's been a long day today, a really long day. Sort of, actually, by the time I haven't yet watered, it's going to be my last job, and by the time I've done that and get home, it's probably going to have been about a sort of 8-hour session. But it's so good today, as you'll have seen in these last couple of videos. Just getting so many little jobs done, little odd jobs. The biggest thing for me was getting the teepees and the bean arches finished. Lashing poles, for about 15-20 minutes. I really enjoy it. Oh, I'm creating something. But then after a couple of hours, it's boring, it hurts my little fingers, what have you. But yeah, and I think there's some kind of interesting psychology around this, and I was thinking about the clutter and the mess in the shed too, which I've almost finished sorting. I reckon about another 20 minutes of sorting, the shed will be done. Now, these may seem daft things to get, concerned about, but for me, I just find clutter really draining, just mentally draining. When I come down here, especially if it's just a quick visit for, say, watering, what have you, ideally when I come down to water, it'd be great to water and do one other quick little job. But what happens when the place is a pigsty and just cluttered and messy, and some of it's rubbish and some of it's needed and some of it should be at home, and it just makes your heart sink when you open the shed door, and it just distracts me and bothers me. Obviously not enough to have done anything about it until today, but that's what I mean about it. It becomes this kind of mental energy drain, because it's sort of always there and always on your mind. So, and I always find this, just deal with it, get it dealt with, and it feels like such a massive weight has been lifted. And it's daft, isn't it? Because it's just clutter and mess, but once it's gone, oh, I feel so much better. I mean, I would never, the way the shed gets, I would never have my home like that. I don't do the housework very often, my skirting boards are dusty, but I am neat, tidy, put away at home. I live in a small space. I need to be, because otherwise that clutter would just encroach on me and eat my brain. But likewise, getting the last of the bean canes up and lashed and getting that TP sorted. That's been on my to-do list for 2 weeks. Now sometimes we simply have to prioritise and other things are more important. So for example, over the last 2 weeks, sowing seeds has been the most important thing to do, because if I don't sow the seeds, I won't have a veg garden. Simple as that. So yeah, getting the sowings done, getting beds prepped, that's all been more important than doing the last finishing bits with the teepees. However, not getting it done over the last couple of weeks, again, it's like the clutter thing. It's like this mental energy drain, because it's always there and it's always in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, just... Anyway, the long and the short of it is that today I feel great having got some of those jobs out of the way. I've done myriad other little bits and bobs around the garden all day, which I haven't actually shown you in the end, partly because the battery on the camera was getting a bit low. So I wanted to make sure, basically what I've tried to do in the last couple of videos is give you a glimpse at what is actually a fairly typical day in the garden for me in May. So a little bit of everything, some seed sowing, some moving stuff around, some structures, getting those sorted, a bit of planting, a bit of watering, a bit of harvesting, a bit of tidying. I've just done a whole load more pebble labels, they've gone out. So yeah, pretty standard typical day in my garden towards the end of May. And I'm getting so excited because in about a week's time, yeah, probably about a week or so, that top bed I will start to plant. So that will be all my tomatoes, my horizontal squash, my peppers and cucumbers need to build a frame. I'll also start to plant the vertical squash, and in the cathedral bed I'll do my next succession of sowings of all my salady bits. Some of them are just coming up. So I don't know whether that will be done by the 1st of June in time for the June tour, but it will probably be in that first week of June. And when I get to that stage, it's really going to feel like, oh, the garden is done, or as done as a garden ever is. The garden's never done, is it? But it's as done as it needs to be at this stage in the year. So I'm giddy with excitement to get to that stage in another week's time where I'll be planting all those things that I've brought from home. So I suppose in the next week or so I'm going to use that time wisely. Bit of weeding, boring, but yeah, just little bits and bobs here and there. That feverfew, I didn't actually prune it today, so that's still on the list. Maybe sort out the top bed with a bit of space for the flowers, get those last 2 beds dug out, get all that cabbage and brassica waste chopped up and in the compost. So yeah, it'll be, I was going to say fun, it is kind of fun. It's going to be a week, over the next week, some not exciting jobs, but there'll be fun jobs to do because I know where they're leading me to. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. So anyway, I need to get on with watering and then doing my harvest. I'm also going to have a bit of rhubarb today from my next door neighbour's plot. They told me, absolutely told me to help myself. So I shall grab a couple of stalks and I will stew it and probably have it on my porridge tomorrow morning. So, well, there we are. I'm a little bit pooped, but really, really happy and starting to have a little bit of a sense of relief that it's going in the right direction. All right, my lovely people, thank you for coming along with me today. It's been a pleasure to have your company. I will see you all again, yeah, really soon, I would have thought. I've no idea what I'll be up to when I see you, but I'm sure we'll have a fine old time when we do next meet up. But in the meantime, it's cheerio for now, and please take care of yourselves, stay well and stay at it in the garden. See you soon.